Hello and welcome to another episode of Goose on the Call. As you can see in my face, I am completely disheveled because I am in the midst of an identity theft right now. If you follow me on Instagram, you've obviously seen all the posts about how much money I'm making on Bitcoin. It's not me. I got hacked. Tried to make a backup. He hacked that one too. Stealing my personal information. Do not send this guy money. If you have a chance, please report all of his stories as scams or fraud. I'm trying to get Instagram to notice this. And yeah, this has been escalated completely further than that. I'm speaking with authorities. I'm trying to figure this out. But this guy is obviously running a phishing scam. For those of you who don't follow me on Instagram or haven't seen, a hacker is running a phishing scam through my Instagram, pretending to be me. It looks like it's me. He's even posting things that I would normally post. He reposted something earlier today from Charlie the Cannibal. Shout out Charlie. He's doing a fantastic fundraiser for breast cancer awareness, and the hacker, pretending to be me, posted Charlie's post on his story so that you all would believe that it was me. But anyway, I am not on Instagram right now. Anybody who claims to be me on Instagram is not me. Do not send them money. Report them, and we'll figure it out from there. So now that that's all out of the way, really, that was one of the only things I wanted to talk about before we get into this week's interviews. We have a little bit of a Warriors Nation extravaganza here. I was able to speak with Marco Berreondo, as well as Joshua Abrams and Michael Shivecharan about their upcoming fights in Flex Fight Series, going to be taking place on February 19th at Flex Fight Series 10. Bunch of really fun fights there. Obviously, Marco is going to be fighting Binyam Shibre. That's a big fight. Michael is going to be fighting Justin Pure, who is making his MMA debut, though he does have an 8-3 record in kickboxing. And Joshua obviously is going to be fighting Adam the Atom Bomb Livingston. We all know about a bunch of the heat that's behind that matchup. Those guys in real life don't like each other, and I can't wait to see them battle it out in the cage. You know, personally, I like them both. They're both great guys, but they don't like each other, and that's going to create a fantastic fight come February. So Joshua offered his thoughts on that fight and everything that's been going on with him in that interview. We're going to get into that shortly. Just really quick, last couple of events with Scoto bets both have gone very, very well. I won't go through everything, but we had some big hitters on UFC 269, including our max bet on Tai Tuivasa. We hit on, I don't even remember. I don't have it in front of me because I didn't plan on doing this, but well, I think we won like 5 units that night. So that one was solid. And then this past weekend, Bilal Muhammad over Stephen Thompson on the money line as the underdog. Derek Lewis, same thing, money line underdog. Hit both of those, finished out the year in spectacular fashion. We finished north of 75 units, I believe. So if you want to check out all of those numbers, there under the link in my Instagram. Fuck, I don't have an Instagram anymore. I'm so used to saying that. The link in my Twitter bio. Yeah, go to at the Goose MMA on Twitter. You can go through there, or just go to scotobets.com. Go under the statistics category. You can see everything that we've done this year. I am calling it a year following that last UFC fight night. I won't be betting any of the other cards that are going to be coming up in the coming weeks. We're going to wait until the next year. And yeah, so that went well. Thank you all for the support there. Hopefully you keep riding my picks into next year. We're now plus between last year and this year close to 200 units, so that's a pretty solid profit year over year. We're looking at an average of about 85 90 units per year, so solid investment over the last 2 years with Scoto bets. So yeah, you see me on Instagram and you see me giving out MMA gambling picks. Yeah, that's me, but I'm not trying to sell you all Bitcoin. With that being said, let's get into our first interview. Please welcome Marco Berreondo. All right, so I am here with Marco Caliwave Berreondo, fresh off of his debut win in Flex Fight Series by armbar, fresh off the championship victory at Chronic Combat in the 200 pounds and under blue belt division. Bunch of success for you lately, Marco, and some more success hopefully in February. How have you been?
I've been great, man. Just staying to it, doing what I love. It's been a really good ride.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about this grappling competition. So again, your upcoming fight is at 140 pounds. Your debut was at 140 pounds in MMA. This grappling competition was a 200 pounds and under bracket. Like, what was it like going up against some guys who were like twice your size almost in that way?
I mean, at first, I was a little skeptical about it, because I didn't know it was a 200 pounds and under bracket, So when I got there, I start walking in and I start seeing some of the guys I know. The jiu-jitsu community is very well known. So when I see the guys, and my coach is like, "Oh, that's the guy you're facing," and we're like, "Yo, these look like some big boys, they look pretty big." But then my Drew asked me, Andrew Franco, he asked me, he was like, "Oh, so what's your plan? Like, what's your game plan?" And I told him, I was like, at the end of the day, jiu-jitsu is going to play its part. I'm going to just go out there and just play jiu-jitsu. Because, back then, it didn't matter how big you were, what style you knew. They were just constantly just going around showing that jiu-jitsu was dominant. It's supposed to be a self-defense sport. So that's just honestly what I did, and I ended up coming up on top.
What does that mean to you as a practitioner to, in this competition, really embody the spirit of jiu-jitsu? Like you mentioned, like this was an art that was partially formed so that smaller people could defend themselves against larger people, and you went out and did it, and you did it in an extravagant fashion, winning a championship in this tournament.
Thank you. Yeah. So, genuinely speaking, I've always been small, like my whole life, like even as a kid, so like I did get bullied when I was smaller, and it was like, all is just to throw hands, you know what I mean? So if I definitely would have known jiu-jitsu, it would have been way better. But even then, like, to just be able to go out there, like have that confidence and be able to overcome with just jiu-jitsu was just beautiful. Cause like everybody was coming up to me. I was a small guy. Like if you look at the highlights, the guys are like here and I'm here, you know what I mean? Or like his leg is here and mine are here. You know what I mean? Like it was a big difference. Like, and they were like hell of opponents, and just jiu-jitsu just proved itself to be dominant.
There you go, man. Congratulations again on the victory, and that's excellent to hear. It's wonderful to hear all those, all the concepts that we just talked about all coming together and helping to build that victory for you. And that's got to give you a lot of confidence going into this matchup. We've got a little bit of a grappler's delight here. Each of you guys are coming off of submission victories. Obviously, you'll be fighting Shivecharan on February 19th. And what are some of the things going into this fight that you're expecting from him in the grappling department?
So, genuinely speaking, I've seen like his fights and stuff. He's like a very like he likes to apply pressure, And the thing is, like those submissions that he's gotten, like it looks like the guys like were more or less not aware of what he was doing. You get what I mean? And I have enough like confidence in my grappling to be able to defend and attack and counter his grappling as well. So that's pretty much it. That's how I feel about it. I think I have enough confidence in my training and in my coaches' preparation for my fight.
There you go. And as you mentioned, having both of those aspects of it, right? The offensive jiu-jitsu and the defensive jiu-jitsu. Is that something like that, just to be clear, so you're saying you don't think that's something he's really seen much of just yet, is people who know how to defend what he's trying to do, and you think that's a challenge he's going to face with you that is different than what he's seen in the past?
Most definitely, like if you've seen everything I do, I'm like my dad likes to say, like a snake. You got what I mean? Like it's like I get that bite and I wrap around. You got what I mean? So just a piece of advice: don't let me grab you, because I'm gonna take you to the ground and I'm gonna maul you respectfully.
There you go. And you've mentioned, I saw some stuff on your Instagram with your dad, and you mentioned the effect that he's had on your training, the influence that he's had there. Obviously, we spoke about what happened behind the stage when you were fighting Laquan Calderon and how that was a little bit personal. Can you speak to like how your dad has helped to develop you as a martial artist at this point?
Most definitely. Just as a man on and off the mats, as a fighter on and off the mats, I went through some stuff in California, and when he basically gave me a second opportunity living out here. And, I thought I was big and bad when I first got here. And he took me to like a boxing gym right here in Flatbush Gardens called Cops and Kids by Dr. Atlas. And, I walk in, I'm ready to fight or whatever. I was like, who wants it, whatever. And like, I could tell my dad's face, like he had something up his sleeve, So he tells the coach, he's like, hey, like, I think he went to go tell the coach, like, hey, he needs to be humbled, because I had a bad temper. And so this kid, right, he comes up, we start sparring and turn my nose into a sponge. And it humbled, that was like the first lesson he taught me, like it's no matter who you are, no matter how strong you are, no matter how many strikes you could throw, if you don't practice and if you don't know technique, it'll always be talent. You get what I mean? Like that was something that hit me hard too. And then throughout wrestling, like in the beginning, it was fun. I took it as like a mediocre sport, and he would always throw that in my face. He would tell me like, yo, like you're not coming out on top because you're not training the way you're supposed to. You're doing other things. You're not resting. You're not eating the right stuff, And so he just constantly he even leads by example. He might not do fighting and stuff, but he dropped a lot of weight. Like my dad used to be a little bit bigger, and he keeps a strict diet. So like he'll keep salmon in the fridge. He'll keep vegetables, and like he basically keeps me on a pescatarian diet. And it's like I can't be like, oh, but you're not doing it. You know what I mean? So he always leads by example. And so like I always keep that in my mind. Everybody's watching, you know? And so he just showed me to like have integrity to that. And, you know, throughout high school, like he just always supported me. And like the other day too, I came home with my belt, right, with the title. And he's talking to the landlord and he's like, you know, like he's just saying so many beautiful things. And I started to tear up, you know, because it's like when I was younger, like it wasn't a lot of people talking good things, you know, and to hear him express himself about me like that was just like, yo, that's one of the biggest wins for me, you know?
Wonderful, man. Thank you for sharing all that. You know, it's interesting to hear how that relationship with your father has kind of helped to forge you into the man that you are today and the fighter that you are today. And a lot of those strong characteristics and a lot of those positive life lessons that you've taken from him, I would imagine are things that you have to keep in mind during a fight buildup like this. Obviously, Binyam is somebody who is notable in like the public eye and everything. There's going to be a lot of eyes on this fight. There are going to be a lot of questions asked about it going into it. How have you kind of maintained your focus through all of that so far?
So the thing is, you know, no matter who the opponent is, cause he has a lot of clout. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like every time, so once I post the flyer, I had people DMing me like, oh, like, you know, stuff about the 90 Day Fiance show. I had people telling me like, oh, you know, he's gonna do his thing. And then, you know, you have the people that are like on my side. They're like, yo, excuse me. They were like, oh, go get this guy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but at the end of the day, like, I feel as if no matter how much clout you got, no much like how much money or anything of that sort, it's like as a fighter, you know, like that's mutual. You got what I mean? Like that fame is not gonna back him up in the fight. That fame is not gonna shame me in the fight. You know, like when you're in there, it's just you and him. Like we're just human. We're just two humans trying to take each other out. You know, and it's either gonna be me or him, and you already know the answer to that.
So it sounds like the attitude is, you know, all of that's outside, that's noise. The only thing that's real, the only thing that matters is what's going to happen in that cage between the two of you, correct?
Big time, yes, sir.
That's good to hear, man. It's, you know, you're a guy who I know is always focused on the goal at hand, the task ahead of you. And can you kind of explain how that has been in mind as you've begun this training camp? Obviously, the fight's 2 months away, so you know you guys never stopped training over at Warriors Nation. I know that, but now being in the official fight camp, is that kind of led to the focus? Is that the focal point of what you're trying to do going into February?
Hell yeah. It's just like I have a bigger team now. I'll tell you that much. And my striking has definitely improved to an extent where I'll be displaying a lot of striking as well. You know, but obviously, if my grappling does happen, I'm gonna take him down and I'm gonna mow him on the ground because I believe they're allowing ground and pound as well. My last fight, that was a lot. You know.
So this one is going to be outside of the novice rule set, right? Like this will be full MMA rules.
Yes, most definitely, and I'm excited for that too because like last fight I was a little bit restricted, so you know I had to keep it a little bit like jiu-jitsu more because I couldn't hit him in the face. So this time I'm looking forward to get a bigger finish.
I remember there were moments in that fight that you actually, you know, naturally as a mixed martial artist there, and obviously this was incidental. You didn't mean to do this, but there were a couple of questionable strikes that had happened on the ground to the head, but you know, that's something that you obviously have an inclination for. You're obviously, you're geared towards the ground and pound. So what does that mean going into this fight, being able to do that now? And how excited are you to be outside of the novice rule set in New York?
So I'm heavily excited for it. Genuinely speaking, like once my coach told me, it just clicked in my head, like, hey, look, this is either going to be your big banger or it's going to bang you out. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just definitely like, feeling the fact that it's going to be a full rule set and knowing that it's a full rule set, I have less to worry about. Because before it was like I was fighting and you know when we would get on the ground I was like, oh, you know, like, oh, don't hit his face, oh, don't hit his face, you know. Now it's just pure backhands, boom, hammer, fist, all that good stuff.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to seeing you get all that going in there. And, you know, I really appreciate you taking the time today. I know you guys are busy and really appreciate you fitting me into your training schedule, your daily schedule and everything. Is there anything that you want to kind of leave the people with before we sign off, just heading into February, and what to look for in this fight?
February 19th, baby. I'm ready for it. You know, I'm training hard. I've been training all year. I train all like 7 days a week if possible. You know what I mean? Nobody's perfect. I would be lying. But apart from that, just be ready for a show. You know, if you've seen me perform, you know that I love to do what I do, and if possible, be flashy as possible. But apart from that, just all around be an entertainer. You know, and thanks for supporting me.
Of course, looking forward to that show. Marco Berreondo, thank you for taking the time. Cali Wave doing his thing February 19th. And again, 140-pound catchweight bout against Binyam Shivecharan, going to be an absolutely fireworks fight. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, talk to you soon, brother. Be well.
For sure. Was
Cheers. All right. Thank you very much to Marco for taking the time to give that interview. Fantastic interview. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let's move on into Michael Shivecharan talking about his fight coming up with Justin Pure. All right, so I am here with Michael Shivecharan, fighter out of Warriors Nation, a Flex Fight Series bantamweight. Is going to be fighting on the February 18th card, and he'll be taking on Justin Pure in a bantamweight MMA feature in that fight. Michael, how are you today?
I'm good. Actually, I'll be making my flyweight debut. I've decided to drop down a weight class to 125.
Interesting. All right, so what motivated or what was the motivation in that behind going down to 125? Do you feel like that's a more natural weight for you?
Obviously weight cutting is a big part of the MMA culture, and I was cutting max 3 to 4 pounds to make 135. I walk around at 139. So, I decided to take the next level and start fighting at a more professional weight. Since I will be weight cutting eventually, I might as well start to get used to it.
Certainly, and that is something that a lot of guys start to move into as they're moving up early on in their careers. They start to figure out like where they're going to be most comfortable. And like you said, only cutting 3-4 pounds down to 135, you might have been possibly a little bit undersized at that weight class. Do you feel like that was the case, or do you was that part of the motivation to go down to flyweight?
Um, Not really. I was just advised by my peers and my elders in MMA. I think I was a stronger guy in both of my fights. It certainly felt that way. I was able to press both men against the cage. I just feel like if I was to perform that way at 135, how would I perform against guys closer to my natural weight,
Certainly,
Especially
and
those
go
guys,
ahead.
they from like 160.
Cut down from 160 to 135. You're saying?
Yeah.
Exactly. So it really is like a bigger guy who's like cutting down to 135. And I think that you made a great point there. As you go down to 125, that strength is going to carry, and you're going to be having even more of a strength advantage in those grappling exchanges, like you mentioned. And to speak a little about your last fight against Patrick Ball, that first round, you were getting that left hand going through the whole way. That straight left was landing every time you threw it, it seemed. And that first round, I definitely scored it for you. The second and third, there were some grappling exchanges that looked like Pat possibly got the better of. Was that did you feel like that was attributed to any strength, or what would you attribute those last two rounds to?
Um, just lack of experience, I'm still young. I still got a lot to learn. And one thing I've learned after that loss is the path to success includes a lot of failures, and I'm actually thankful it happened because it made me a much better fighter. Ever since then, it's pretty hard for even pros to hold me down in the gym, because that's something I never really worked. I never expected him to shoot on me. He was advertising himself as a kickboxer the whole camp. So, it was my mistake, and kudos to Pat Ball. He's a great fighter. He capitalized on it. It was his night, and, I'm happy for him. He did what he had to do to get the win.
Certainly, and you said not really taking a loss out of this, but rather a lesson, right? No losses, only lessons, and especially this early on in your career, it's a great lesson to learn. As you mentioned, it highlighted something that you have since improved upon, and you mentioning the pros are having a tough time holding you down in the gym. And you also mentioned that he was kind of advertising himself as a kickboxer going into that fight. Now, going into this next fight against Justin Pure, you don't know too much about him yet, just because he's obviously a debuting fighter. There isn't much tape on him. So for you as a fighter, what is your focus going into this fight in this training camp?
Well, actually, he does have more experience than me. He's 5-3 in kickboxing. But as you said, he's making his debut into MMA. So I think I have to show him that, kickboxing is a little bit of a different sport than MMA. There's so many more aspects, so many more factors. There's a different type of cardio. And obviously, he's making his debut. So, I think it's going to be a rude awakening.
And do you feel like that's something that gives you a leg up? You've been inside that cage before. You've had to mix your martial arts. You've had to strike while grappling. You've had to go up and down and make those adjustments before. Do you feel like that's an advantage that you have going into him in this fight, despite the fact that he has more total fights than you do in his career?
Certainly. When I made the transition from fighting kickboxing to fighting MMA, it was a rude awakening myself. So when I say that, I'm not necessarily trying to put him down. I'm speaking from experience. It's just a factual statement that kickboxing and MMA are very different sports. There's just so many more aspects, and the things that I went through, he's going through now. So I kind of have that head up on him, even though he might have a few more fights than me. And I think that's going to play a big factor in the fight.
Certainly, and something you've been able to do through your first two fights in mixed martial arts is make necessary adjustments when they come in the fight, right? Like we've spoken before about you being an adaptive fighter. You kind of take what the fight comes, or you take what the fight gives to you. You take things as they come, and you adjust as necessary. Do you feel that well-roundedness to your skill set is something that's also going to be an advantage in this fight?
Certainly, I have options. Obviously, he's very comfortable on the feet. He may or may not be comfortable grappling. We don't really know, but I know that I'm comfortable wherever the fight goes, and I have abilities and I have a toolbox that can help me in any aspect of the game.
Certainly, and part of that is having such great coaches and such great training partners behind you. We've spoken before about Coach Hansel, Xavier, Hulk Pedro Villa, all of your great training partners. I'm going to be speaking to Marco Berreondo in a little bit. He's also a bantamweight. We just mentioned you're going down to flyweight now, but can you speak a little bit about how all of that support at Warriors Nation helps to give you confidence going into this fight?
Yeah, it's great, man. We all do our camps together. We just had a great training session yesterday. It was hard sparring. We brought the best out of each other. Coach Hansel, Coach X, Coach Hulk, as you mentioned, all three of them, they're like great support inside and outside of the gym. You know, they help us. They make sure we're on point physically and mentally. And as tough as they are, it's all, you know, it's just tough love. And we need it as fighters.
Certainly, and that can definitely be something that helps you get prepared, kind of going through a lot of those more difficult experiences in the training room so that the fight can almost seem easy. Not to say that any fight is ever easy, but that's got to give you a lot of confidence knowing that you have that excellent preparation behind you, right?
Yeah, you can't go wrong having the right people in your circle.
Certainly, man. Iron sharpens iron, and looking forward to getting to see how all that preparation comes to fruition in February. I always love watching you fight, and it's going to be an exciting thing to see you move down to flyweight now and watch all that power and all that strength carry. And is there anything else you want to mention right now? Just before we sign off, any kind of message you want to send out going into this fight? Something to keep in mind for the next 2 months.
Um, I plan to be more active. I fought 2 times for flex and 1 time in kickboxing in 2021. I've transitioned fully to MMA, so I expect to fight 4 to 5 times this year. So, just look out for me. Look out for the things I do in flyweight division, and expect the show in February.
Wonderful, man. Michael Shivecharan going to put on a show at flyweight February 18th. Looking forward to that fight and looking forward to that high level of activity that you're mentioning for the rest of the year. And yeah, man, it's going to be great to see. I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully we get that capped off or started off with a win in February.
Yes, sir.
All right, Michael Shivecharan, thank you very much for taking the time, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you very much to Michael for taking the time to give that interview. He had a lot of fun, interesting things to say about that matchup. Obviously, very interesting anytime you're facing somebody coming into their debut. A striking specialist, obviously, with the kickboxing background is Justin Pure. But it's going to be interesting to see how those two guys match up in February. And now let's move into Joshua Abrams' interview, in which he had some choice words regarding the current lightweight champion of Flex Fight Series, Adam Livingston, and their fight coming up on February 19th. I hope you all enjoy this. All right, so I am here with Joshua Abrams, who is going to be fighting for the Flex Fight Series lightweight MMA title against Adam Livingston on February 18th out here in New York. Right now, you just told me you're out in Las Vegas celebrating your 25th birthday, so happy birthday to you, Josh. And how's everything going out there?
Thank you. Oh, man, it's a lot of fun, man. Vegas is an interesting place, man. It's I saw the Bruno Mars concert last night. Incredible. And yeah, no, I love it.
Awesome. So that you're right now kind of just enjoying yourself, taking the holidays to focus on relaxing, getting that mental right and everything. And you mentioned you'd had a title fight recently in October in Rage in the Cage. You became the lightweight, right, kickboxing champion in that promotion. So congratulations on that, and also bringing that belt in that set you up for a big title shot here.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been looking to fight for Flex since my March fight, and a lot of people have been ducking. A lot of people will accept fights, then they'll pull out, especially from Long Island. And so I was talking with Machi, and I was like, look, man, if the only person who ain't gonna back out is the champ. So I've been calling him out. He finally stopped running, and here we are.
Well, you had mentioned that, there has been a lot of back and forth between you and the champ. He had mentioned you in his post-fight interview after his last fight at Flex Fight Series 9. What kind of initiated all of the animosity here between you and Adam?
Well, I call him out on BS. He hasn't fought anybody with a winning record. I don't know how you're the champ and have not fought. I can literally go by his first fight, 0-0, right? Cool, it was his very first fight. Second fight, fought a guy that was 2-4. Third fight, fought a guy that was 0-0 and got rear naked choke in 48 seconds. Fourth fight, fought a guy that was 0-0. Fifth fight, fought a guy that was 5-9 as an amateur, 5-9. Doesn't even finish him, gets the belt, and then defends it against a guy that was 1-1. Has not fought anybody with a winning record, yet he's parading around like, I'm the big guy, I'm the big man in town. Yeah. So I just call that out. He calls it, you know, he wants to start all this animosity stuff. For me, it's just business at the end of the day. I don't hate the kid. I think Long Island, you know, they try to get it easy. But yeah, I don't hate the kid or anything like that. If he has animosity towards me, that's his problem. I just come there, handle business, get my belt and bounce.
Well, as you mentioned, you know, business was kind of the word that stuck out to me there. This fight is an excellent piece of business. I think we got two really high-level, high-talent fighters here. But you're mentioning now that you have some more high-level experience, you feel, than Adam has. You know, you mentioned some of his past opponents' records. Is that something that you feel is going to give you an advantage coming into this fight?
Well, I mean, every person I fought was they all had a winning record. In my first Muay Thai fight, I fought a dude that was 5-3. My second Muay Thai fight for a belt was against a dude that was 4-1. My first MMA fight was against Adam's teammate, who was 2-0 at the time. You know what I mean? And everybody I fight is with a winning record. You know what I mean? I go to my coaches and they're like, cool, let's see what you're about. So cool, let's go against this tough guy. Let's go against this tough guy. Let's go against this tough guy. And how do you fare against that? That's what fighting is. Not this, you know, like trying to fight cans to get a good record and you know, you're not. And then on top of that, the funny thing is he was talking about wanting to go pro after that fight too. He hasn't fought anybody with a winning record, and yet you want to go pro. Get out of here, man.
Well, actually, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because that's something that he had said in that post-fight interview. Specifically, he wanted you to put some respect on his name. Do you not feel like you respect his past opponents, or like what's kind of the deal there? Do you think that he's misinterpreting that the lack of respect?
Look, man. Look, you got to respect anybody that steps in that cage. Hats off, but he's not a fighter. He does not want it. He wants to parade around things like he causing cans from California that are 1-1. You know what I mean? Just you know, man. Look, honestly, man, I don't even give a fuck about that, to be fair. So I don't care if he thinks I respect him or not. You know, it is what it is. I'm taking my belt February 19th, and that's that. He's built like a twig, first of all. He does all this crazy, like flashy spinning stuff. He just sets himself up for so many opportunities, and one round, one round, I was going over the fights, all his fights with my coaches, and it's one round, man. It's one round.
So there it is.
He's too small. He's too skinny. He has no experience. I train with killers. I train with Bellator top 10 contenders. I train with one champions. I train with one top 10 contenders. I train with UFC top 15 contenders. I train with those people. Those are who I'm taking shots from every day. This kid, I don't know. They're having a tickle party at Long Island, and then he wants to parade around like he's a real fighter. Look, everybody will see, though. Everybody will see. February 19th, everybody's gonna see.
Well, it's great to hear the confidence, and your nickname is the Prophet. You are in the business of making predictions. It sounds like your prediction for this fight is a first round knockout in your favor. More specifically, how do you see this fight going? You mentioned some of the spinning things that you think would open up opportunities for you. Are those some of the holes that you feel like you see in his game?
I mean, there's a lot of holes in this game, to be fair. He has basic footwork, no real head movement. He's been taller than all of his opponents, so it makes sense. He really doesn't have to move his head too much. So he has no head movement, no real footwork. His skinny ass ain't got no damn power for real. So that's that. You know, I'm gonna dance around him. It's gonna be fun. And it's gonna be vicious. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be vicious. And the best part is, it's gonna be in his backyard.
You mentioned, you know, this kind of also your backyard, right? You spend a lot of time in New York. You mentioned training back and forth between there and Jackson Wink, obviously spending some time in Vegas now, but do you feel like this is kind of a road fight for you? You know, are you coming in as the road warrior on enemy turf for this this competition?
100%. Long Island isn't even a borough, you know. So 100%, yeah. This is you can say it's a road fight. But that's what I love. I love hostile environments. I love quieting crowds. There's no sweeter sound than a quiet crowd, and so yeah, I look forward to doing that on February 19th as well. So.
Well, if you're able to pull off the win on February 19th, I know there's going to be at least one section in the building that's not going to be very quiet at all, and that'll be all your Warriors Nation training partners and your coaches there. And can you speak a little bit about how that preparation, also the preparation at Jackson Wink, has helped you to develop yourself as a fighter over this last year and give you confidence going into this title fight early 2022?
Yeah, well, it's been kind of like a dual thing because, you know, I keep Warriors Nation updated. Hansel and Xavier are updated all the time on what I'm working on, what I'm improving on, et cetera, even game planning. You know, I had my coaches down at Jackson's come up with preparations for this fight, and then yeah, just kind of relay that back to them at Warriors Nation. So when I come like 2 weeks out, you know, to finish my camp over there, we're just picking up where we left off. I'm also bringing in one of my coaches out there who just won the Cage Fury world title, Damon Blackshear. He's coming down as well to corner me as well. So we got all the pieces rolling together. Each team is working with each other, and so that's what I really like about it. So I'm ready to go, man.
Well, that's great to hear. You know, it sounds like you've really you've assembled a team of coaches and training partners who are really helping you become the best version of yourself. And you know, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview. I don't want to hold you up too much because I know you requested a late checkout to be able to do this with me, which I very much appreciate. And are there any last thoughts that you want to leave the people with going into the fight in February?
Look, Long Island is the wrong island. I'll leave it at that. You know, they try to look, man. It's laughable, bro. When they look, I spit facts, right? Then when you can't neglect the facts, when you can't deny the facts, they start talking about other stuff. They start bringing my girlfriend into the picture. They start adding her. They start, you know. Then he has this teammate who also has a losing record and has never fought anybody with a winning record except one time, and that guy knocked him out in 9 seconds. So you're like, it's classic Long Island. The only person I respect from that gym is John O'Day. He's the only one that was like, oh, I'll fight him again. I'll fight him again. All these other guys, they run. They like to milk their records as much as possible. He can't run no more, bro. He can't run. That bout is mine. February 19th. Tune in.
Great to hear that prediction, man. That's how you cut a promo right there. Joshua Abrams, the Prophet, thank you very much for taking this time. Thank you for giving the interview again. I know you kind of had to squeeze this in on your way out. Happy birthday, and you know, safe flight back. Looking forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing you as well. Thank you.
All right, good luck, brother. I'll see you soon.
All right.
All right, and with those 3 interviews, we are going to conclude this episode of Goose on the Call. There aren't too many events to look forward to. Obviously, we're looking at Flex Fight Series 10 coming up February 19th. Make sure you all get your tickets there. Twitter bio only there. I'll also put a link on my YouTube page if you all are watching there. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to get my Instagram back, but, you know, let this kind of be a lesson to everybody. You know, there really wasn't anything that I could do to secure the account. Like, after he hacked the original one, I tried to make a backup one with multiple authentication factors and a different email and all this other shit that Instagram told me to do, and he still got in there. So there really, I don't know if there's anything that we all can really do. I know there was that report from a Facebook employee not long ago, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, claiming that things like this were going to happen and that Facebook and Meta, whatever the hell they want to call themselves, just didn't really care, and that they were moving forward with the launch of Meta despite the security flaws and everything. This isn't meant to be a tech podcast, man. I'm just telling you all about my personal experience with this, and it has been a fucking nightmare. I don't know what information this person has access to. Like I said before, I'm in contact with authorities trying to figure the whole thing out. And yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to be back on Instagram anytime soon. I'll give you all an update about that. But yeah, you know, find me on Twitter at @thegoose_MMA. Find me on YouTube, TJ Ragusa. And everybody, stay safe out there. It's a fucking crazy world.